The sound of fabric tearing echoed through the dressing room like a gunshot. I turned from helping another dancer with her hair to see my 8-year-old daughter Elowen standing frozen in the middle of the room. Her custom ballet dress hanging in shreds from her shoulders. Hand-sewn crystals scattered across the floor like fallen stars. Months of work destroyed in seconds. And my mother-in-law Constance standing behind her, scissors still in her hand, face arranged in an expression of exaggerated horror. "Oh no!" Constance gasped, loud enough for the other mothers to hear. "Oh, Elowen, sweetheart, I was just trying to fix a loose thread and the whole thing just came apart. These cheap dresses, they just fall to pieces, don't they?" The dress had cost $800. 3 fittings. Custom dyed to match the choreography theme. The only one that fit Elowen's tiny frame perfectly enough for the technical requirements of her routine. And Constance had just destroyed it. 20 minutes before my daughter was scheduled to perform at the regional youth ballet competition. The competition Elowen had trained 6 months for. The one that would determine if she advanced to nationals. The other mothers were already whispering, looking at the ruined dress. At Constance's concerned grandmother act. At me waiting to see how I'd react. I looked at my daughter. At the tears forming in her eyes. At the way her small shoulders had started to shake. Then I looked at Constance. At the barely concealed satisfaction in her eyes. At the scissors she was still holding. The ones she'd deliberately used to shred every panel of the dress. And I smiled. "Don't worry, baby," I said to Elowen. "Grandma Constance just did us a huge favor." I walked to my bag. The large one Constance had asked about earlier, the one I'd told her held just supplies and snacks. I unzipped it and pulled out the garment bag hidden inside. Inside was the real dress. The one I'd had made after the first one. The one that was even more beautiful, with more crystals, better construction, perfect in every way. The one I'd known I'd need because Constance had a history of accidents that always seemed to happen to things I cared about. I held it up. Watched Constance's face drain of color as she realized what she was seeing. "This," I said clearly, making sure everyone in the dressing room could hear, "is Elowen's actual competition dress. The one you just destroyed was a backup I had made from your wedding dress, Constance. You know, the one you stored at our house. I borrowed it last month. Hope you don't mind." The room went silent. Completely, utterly silent. Constance's hand flew to her mouth. "My wedding dress. You let me destroy my wedding dress." "Oh no," I said, matching her earlier fake horror. "You destroyed your wedding dress. I just didn't stop you. Kind of like how you didn't stop yourself from cutting up what you thought was my daughter's only costume 20 minutes before the most important performance of her life. If you believe that some people show their true colors when they think no one's watching, hit that subscribe button. Because this is about what happens when you protect your child by staying 10 steps ahead of someone who's been sabotaging her for years. My name is Sloane Hartwell. I'm 34 years old. And for the past 8 years, I've been playing chess with a woman who thinks she's the only one who knows the rules. My mother-in-law Constance was a dancer. Professional, successful. Had a career with a major company before she retired to have my husband Garrett. That was 36 years ago. And she's never stopped reminding everyone that she gave up her dreams for motherhood. When I married Garrett, Constance made it clear she had opinions about me. I was too young at 26. Not sophisticated enough. Didn't understand the arts like she did. But she was civil. Cold but civil. Then I got pregnant with Elowen. And then Elowen started showing an interest in ballet at age 4. That's when Constance changed. Suddenly she was involved. Offering to pay for classes. Insisting on taking Elowen to lessons. Buying her expensive dance equipment. I thought she was being generous. Supporting her granddaughter's passion. I was wrong. Constance wasn't supporting Elowen. She was trying to control her. To relive her career through her granddaughter. To train Elowen the way she'd been trained in the 1970s. With criticism and perfection standards no 8-year-old should face. "Your turnout is sloppy, Elowen." My teacher would have made me hold that position until I collapsed. "You're too heavy for that lift. You need to eat less. Dancers don't get to eat like normal children. Stop crying. Crying is for girls who don't have what it takes. Do you have what it takes, or are you weak like your mother?" I found out about the comments when Elowen started having nightmares. Started asking me if she was too fat to be a dancer. Started refusing to eat because Grandma says dancers have to be light. I confronted Constance. She denied everything. Said Elowen was exaggerating and too sensitive, and maybe ballet wasn't for her if she couldn't handle constructive feedback. I told Garrett. He defended his mother. She's trying to help. She knows what it takes to succeed in dance. Maybe Elowen does need to toughen up. So I made a decision. Constance was no longer allowed at Elowen's lessons. No longer allowed to comment on her weight, her technique, her anything related to dance. Constance smiled. Agreed. Backed off. Then the accidents started. Elowen's new ballet shoes, the ones that finally fit perfectly after 3 painful break-in sessions, disappeared from her dance bag. "So strange," Constance said. "They must have fallen out somewhere." Elowen's audition tape for the youth company, the one we'd spent weeks perfecting, was erased from my phone. "Oh dear," Constance said when I mentioned it at family dinner. "Technology is so unreliable." The costume for Elowen's first solo performance got, accidentally, thrown in the washing machine on hot, shrinking 3 sizes. "I was just trying to help with laundry," Constance explained. "How was I supposed to know it was dry clean only?" Each incident was plausibly deniable. Each one Garrett defended as an honest mistake. Each one happened at moments that would cause maximum disruption to Elowen's dancing. I started documenting, taking photos, keeping receipts, building a file. Because I'd seen enough. Constance wasn't making mistakes. She was sabotaging my daughter. Trying to prove that Elowen couldn't succeed. That she didn't have what Constance had. That she was weak and would fail. And I was done letting her get away with it. This competition was the perfect test. Regional qualifier for nationals. Elowen had made the finals in her age group. This performance would determine if she advanced. I told Constance the details at family dinner 2 weeks before. The date. The venue. What time we'd arrive. "Oh, I wouldn't miss it," Constance said. "I remember my regional competition at that age. Life-changing." She asked to help backstage. Said she wanted to support Elowen. Garrett encouraged it. "Mom's really trying," he said when I hesitated. "Give her a chance to be involved." So I did. Gave her a chance. A chance to show me exactly who she was. I had 2 dresses made. The first one I had delivered to our house where Constance could see it. Made a big deal about the cost, the fittings, how perfectly it was tailored. Left it hanging in Elowen's closet where anyone could access it. The second dress I had delivered to my friend Myra's house. Better quality. More expensive. Even more beautiful. That one never came to our house. 2 days before the competition, Constance volunteered to take the first dress to the venue. For the dress rehearsal. "I'll make sure it gets there safely." I let her take it. But the dress she took wasn't the real competition dress. It was a practice dress I'd modified to look similar. Not perfect, but close enough to fool someone who saw it briefly. The morning of the competition, I told Garrett I was taking Elowen early for warm-up. I packed the real dress in the bottom of my bag, under snacks and first aid supplies and other mom things Constance would never bother searching through. When we arrived at the venue, Constance was already there. Volunteer badge on. Smile in place. The practice dress hanging in Elowen's assigned dressing area. "All ready," she said brightly. "I checked the dress this morning. It's perfect." Thanked her. Let Elowen start her warm-up routine. Kept the bag with the real dress close. 90 minutes before performance time, I took Elowen to get her hair and makeup done. Left the practice dress hanging in the dressing room. Left my bag tucked under the makeup station, in sight but not obviously guarded. 60 minutes before performance, I brought Elowen back to change. The practice dress was still hanging there. Touch. Constance was hovering nearby. Watching. Waiting. 30 minutes before performance, I made a show of going to the bathroom. Watch our stuff, I told another mom. I'll be right back. I waited around the corner. Watched through the doorway. Constance moved fast. Went straight to the hanging dress. Pulled out scissors from her purse. And systematically destroyed it. Not one angry slash. Calculated cuts through every seam, every panel. Making sure it couldn't be repaired. Then she arranged her face into shock. Waited for someone to notice. I walked back in. Let her perform. Let her discover the damage. Let her make her excuses. Then I pulled out the real dress. The one that had never been in danger. And watched her realize she'd been played. The competition officials came to investigate the commotion. Other mothers were already talking, having watched Constance's performance. She had scissors, one mother said. I saw her go through the girl's bag earlier too. This is the second dress drama she's been involved in today, another added. She told the girl in Space 12 that her costume was against regulations. Made her change. The girl missed her warm-up slot. Officials pulled Constance aside. I could see her talking fast, explaining, justifying. Meanwhile, I dressed Elowen in the real costume. The beautiful one. The one that fit perfectly and sparkled under the lights. Mom! Elowen whispered as I fastened the last hook. Did Grandma really ruin her own wedding dress? Yes, baby. Why would she do that? Because she thought she was destroying something you loved. She wanted you to fail. But why? I knelt down to her level. Because she's scared, Elowen. Scared that you'll be better than she was. Scared that you'll succeed where she gave up. Scared that you're strong enough to do what she couldn't. Am I? I looked at my daughter. Years old. Teeny. Nervous. But standing straight in her beautiful dress. Ready to perform despite everything that had just happened. You're stronger than she'll ever understand. Elowen performed 12 minutes later. Her routine was flawless. Every extension perfect. Every turn controlled. Every expression capturing the music exactly as choreographed. She landed her final pose and the audience erupted. I was crying. The other mothers in the wings were crying. Even the stage crew looked emotional. Constance was nowhere to be seen. After the performance, during the break before awards, an official approached me. Ms. Hartwell, we need to discuss the incident with Mrs. Hartwell Sr. Of course. Several witnesses reported seeing her deliberately damage your daughter's costume. We have security footage that appears to confirm this. We're removing her from the venue and banning her from future competitions. I understand. We're also recommending you file a police report for destruction of property. What she did was criminal. Already planning to. For what it's worth, the official said quietly, your daughter's performance was extraordinary. Especially given what she just experienced. She's got real strength. She does. Awards ceremony was an hour later. Elowen's age group was announced last. Third place went to a lovely dancer from the north suburbs. Second place to a technical virtuoso from downtown. First place was called Elowen Hartwell, representing Westside Youth Ballet. My daughter walked onto that stage with her head high. Accepted her medal and her trophy. Stood for photos with the other winners. When the photographer asked her to say a few words, she looked directly at the camera. I want to dedicate this to everyone who supported me. My mom who believed in me. My teacher who trained me. And everyone who shows love by building people up instead of tearing them down. 8 years old and already wiser than her grandmother would ever be. After the ceremony, I found Constance in the parking lot. Garrett was with her, looking confused and angry. Sloan, Mom says you accused her of sabotaging Elowen. That's insane. She would never. There's security footage, Garrett. The venue has it. Multiple witnesses saw her cut up what she thought was Elowen's only dress 20 minutes before she was supposed to perform. They're recommending I press charges. That's ridiculous. Mom was trying to help. She said there was a thread. She used scissors to systematically destroy every seam of a dress she thought was irreplaceable. She went through my bag looking for the real one. She's been sabotaging Elowen for years, and I have documented proof. Pulled out my phone. Showed him the folder. Photos of the mysteriously lost shoes. Screenshots of the erased audition video. Receipts for the ruined costume. Texts where Constance accidentally gave Elowen the wrong rehearsal time. This is her pattern, Garrett. Accident after accident, always at critical moments, always causing maximum damage to Elowen's dancing. She's not supporting our daughter. She's trying to destroy her. Garrett looked at the evidence. At his mother. Me. Mom. Constance's face was stone. She's always hated me. From the beginning. This is her way of cutting me out of Elowen's life. I don't hate you, Constance. I just won't let you hurt my daughter anymore. You have a choice. Get help. Therapy. Work on understanding why you need to sabotage an 8-year-old's success. Or you don't see Elowen anymore. You can't keep me from my granddaughter. Garrett, tell her. Actually, a new voice said, she can. We turned. A woman in a business suit was standing nearby. She held out a card. I'm Detective Sarah Vance. I was here watching my niece compete. Saw the incident with the dress. I've been talking to venue officials and witnesses. Ms. Hartwell, you have grounds for a restraining order based on the pattern of harassment and destruction of property. I'd be happy to help you file. Constance's face went white. This is insane. I'm her grandmother. I love her. Love doesn't destroy a child's costume 20 minutes before the biggest performance of her life, Detective Vance said flatly. Love doesn't sabotage a child's opportunities. What you did today was criminal. Be grateful Ms. Hartwell seems willing to settle for a restraining order instead of pressing charges. I looked at Garrett. Your choice. Family therapy with actual accountability. Or supervised visits only with professional oversight. But the sabotage ends today. He looked at his mother. Really looked at her. Saw what I'd been seeing for years. We'll do therapy, he said quietly. But Mom, if you ever do anything like this again, anything that hurts Elowen, you're done. Completely done. Constance opened her mouth to argue. Saw our faces. Closed it. The restraining order was filed the next week. Temporary, pending therapy and evaluation. Constance was allowed supervised visits with Elowen only, and only after completing a psychological evaluation. The evaluation revealed what I'd suspected. Narcissistic personality disorder with some obsessive tendencies around her former career. The psychologist recommended intensive therapy before unsupervised contact with Elowen. Constance refused therapy. Said we were all conspiring against her. Said Elowen wasn't even that talented anyway. The temporary restraining order became permanent. Elowen advanced to nationals. Placed 4th. The trophy sits on her shelf next to the regional first place medal. But the real victory wasn't the medals. It was the day Elowen came home from practice and said, Mom, I love dancing again. I forgot what it felt like when it was just fun. That's what Constance had taken. Joy. The fun. The pure love of movement and music. And that's what we got back. Last month Constance sent a letter. Not to me or Garrett. To Elowen. It said, I'm sorry your mother turned you against me. I hope someday you'll understand I was only trying to help you be great like I was. You'll never be a real dancer, but I forgive you for wasting the chances I gave you. I showed it to Elowen. Let her decide how to respond. She read it once. Folded it carefully. Put it in her memory box with her medals and programs. I think Grandma Constance is sad, she said. Because she doesn't understand that being great isn't about being perfect. It's about loving what you do and working hard because you want to, not because someone's forcing you. Years old. And already understood what her grandmother never would. Before I go, I want to say something to every parent dealing with a family member who sabotages their child. Document everything. Every incident. Every comment. Every accident that seems convenient. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Protect your child first. Family peace is not worth your child's mental health. And sometimes, the best way to expose a saboteur is to give them the opportunity to reveal themselves. Let them think they've won. Then show them you were always 10 steps ahead. I didn't stop Constance from destroying that dress because I wanted her to. I gave her enough rope to hang herself with. Let her show everyone exactly who she was when she thought no one was watching. And now everyone knows. The family can't deny it. Garrett can't defend it. Constance can't explain it away. She's revealed. Documented. And Elowen is free to dance for the joy of it, without someone waiting in the wings to cut her down. That's the real victory. Not the medals or the trophies. The freedom to try and fail and succeed without fear of sabotage from someone who should have been supporting her all along. If this story resonated, if you've dealt with family members sabotaging your children, share it. Subscribe for more stories about protecting your kids from people who should know better. And remember, the best revenge isn't destroying your saboteur. It's letting them destroy themselves while you protect what matters. Your child's joy, their confidence, their future. That's worth more than any relationship with someone who can't celebrate their success.